Hi everyone, this is V, and welcome to my channel. So today I wanted to start off by discussing some changes that I am doing this year. I decided to focus on my health, in this season. One of the main reasons why I decided to start this journey was due to issues that I was having with mobility with my back. I was having severe back problems, issues not being able to move around, sometimes walking. And so I decided the first of the year, which was January, to start exercising, monitoring my calories, what I eat, and basically trying to lose some weight, just in case that was one of the reasons that I was having so much issues with my back. So with that being said, I started January the 1st, New Year's. I decided to go on Amazon, get me a food scale, so I can start measuring the foods that I was eating, as well as downloading an app on my phone to be able to track my calories. And if I'm not mistaken, the app is called My Food Diary. I want to say that's what it's called. And so I was using that to just calculate the calories that I'm incorporating on a daily basis. And so I was doing that the first of the year. With that also being said, because I was having the mobility with my back, walking, being able to stand for a long period of time, I decided, okay, well, try to incorporate walking, because I do have a walking pad. I've had it for maybe 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. And every time I would start to walk, I would just have severe pains in my lower back, and I couldn't stand. It just wasn't working. So I decided the first of the year I wasn't going to let that deter me, and I said, okay, well, set a reminder on your phone every hour to at least, try to get 5 minutes in, at least 6 times out the day, which would total 30 minutes. That was the plan. So I started doing that, and I was successful at it. I started noticing that, okay, you're able to get this 30 minutes out in, even though you're spacing out the 30 minutes. It was like, okay, it was taking forever. And because I work and with my job, it's just, I'm always so busy, I may not get it that first message. Then the second message, I was like, oh, I need to get up and I need to do this 5 minutes, because I can't wait till nighttime and I haven't done the 30 minutes. And I know that I wasn't going to be able to just do 30 minutes straight. That wasn't going to happen. So I would say the first full month of January, that's what I was doing. No, I'm lying. Half of the month of January, that's what I was doing. So towards the ending, maybe a week and a half before the ending of January, I said, okay, start building up your endurance. Try to stretch this 5 minutes out as long as you can, because my goal was to try to get the 30 minutes in one session. So I was able to accomplish that. I eventually made it to 20 minutes, and then I may have had like 10 minutes left for that day to try to get the 30 minutes in. And I was doing this 3 times a week, because I didn't want to cause any issues with my back, because like I said, if my back started acting up, it was a wrap. It was discouraging. It was nothing. The next morning, I wouldn't be able to really walk for 2 days. And I mean, literally, no. So I made sure that I focused on just spacing out my walking. So I did that. Finally got the 20 minutes. Then I want to say the 1st of February, I was able to start 30 minutes. Okay. So then I said, okay, well, increase a little bit more time. So then I went up to 4 days, walking 30 minutes on my walking pad. Okay. Doing pretty good. Maybe the second and a half week in February, I increased it to 45 minutes. So now I'm doing 45 minutes, 5 days a week. Knock on wood, no concerns with the back. So I'm building that endurance to be able to keep going. And so during this time, of course, I was trying to lose weight as well, monitoring what I'm eating, because I was the queen of takeout. Queen of takeout. When you have a busy lifestyle, as far as like with a job, family, whatever's going on, convenience is always there, and my convenience was takeout. And it didn't make it easier to have two of my favorite restaurants not even 5 minutes from my house. So that wasn't good. But the point is, I was the queen of takeout. It could be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so I wanted to make sure I was watching what I was eating, exercising. And then, of course, I didn't mention this, I have a sedentary lifestyle. Let me say, I had a sedentary lifestyle, because as of this year, my lifestyle is no longer sedentary. So I wasn't getting movement in. So I would say last year I was at 218, and between the sporadic walking with the back problems, sporadic, because once my back, I wasn't able to stand, I feel like my legs started to fall from up under me, nothing was happening. So eventually, by the first of the year, I was at 211 just from sporadic walking, trying not to injure myself. So I had a follow-up appointment in February with my primary care doctor. Just a follow-up from something from last year. I don't even remember what it was. Just to do a 6-month follow-up. And so when I went to that visit in February, she was just basically, heck, I think everybody forgot why I was coming to the appointment, because usually when you have, like, if you have a headache or you have a cold or whatever's going on, your doctor always say, follow with me in 6 months, and let's make sure everything is going with you. So the point of the matter is, I don't recall why I had the follow-up appointment in February, but during that visit, I was telling the intake nurse that, what I've been doing. And so let me back up. So when I went between January and February, I lost some weight. So in January, I started with 211, because I was originally 218 last year, 2024. And so by the time I had my follow-up appointment, I was 207. So as normal, when you go to the doctor and you get on the scale, the number is never what's on your home scale. It's always different. So I was like, oh man, when I go to this appointment, the scale gonna say I didn't lose a dog on things. That was just in my mind. So when the girl, when she weighed me, it said 211. I was like, I know that's not right. And the reason how I knew it wasn't right, because as I said, I was the queen of takeout, and I didn't have any takeout. And as we all know now, like for those who are learning, educating themselves on nutrition and all this stuff, one meal alone could be over 1,000 something calories. So I really and if I was doing that 3 times a day, that's over 3,000 something calories, and then maybe cook dinner if needed. So I was eating way too many calories. So I knew I had to decrease. I was like, no, this is not right. So then my doctor finally came in and just asking general questions, how I'm doing and so forth and so on. And then I would just mention to her, I've been, monitoring what I'm eating, tracking my calories. I got me a scale. I'm tracking everything. And she asked me, are you doing any exercise? I said, yes, I'm finally doing 30 minutes. I'm able to now do 30 minutes, a walking session, because I'm not having the problems with my back. You see me lean on because I keep knocking on wood, because if you know, you know that is the worstest problem that you can have is back problems. And so she was like, oh, okay, so you're doing good. So she was like, so your weight it shows that you're at 211. So I was like, that's what y'all scales say. I said, my scale at the house says 207. And she said, okay, well, on here it just says 211. And so you kind of fluctuate, because remember last year I was at 218. And at one point I did get to 211 last year, if I'm not mistaken. And then I went back to 218. So during the conversation, she was like, well, you know what, you're exercising more. She could tell, because I just felt good. I was able to walk. If people understood how it feels not to be able to walk due to your back, you understand where I'm coming from. It's not a good feeling. So she could tell that I was actually getting the exercise in. And so she was like, so how do you feel about taking a weight loss medicine called Zepbound? I was like, So then I said, is it a safe medication? It was my first time hearing the name. I was like, is it safe medication? Tell me a little bit more. So she explained to me about the medicine and so forth, and how it works. And I said, okay. I said, but I don't know, my insurance probably not going to cover it. And if my insurance is not going to cover it, I'm not paying for it. I just keep doing what I'm doing, and that is watching my calorie intake and exercising. And she was like, well, that's not word. We'll look and see. And I said, okay. So she then went out to I guess put some information in the computer. And she said, well, your insurance says that this is one of the weight loss medicines that will be covered. And I said, oh, okay. And so then she sat down and she explained to me, we didn't get into how much protein I need to eat, my calories I need to eat. Only thing she kept focusing on was make sure you get your protein in. She didn't give me a number. She was like, get your protein in. She said this medicine does suppress your appetite. And so she was like, so it's going to be hard to eat, but make sure you eat. Do not eat. And she said, if it's on a day where you feel like you just can't eat, she said, you're going to want to have some protein shakes, or make you some shakes, however it is, but get your protein in. Do not go without a day without getting protein in. And I said, okay. I didn't really ask a bunch of questions, because this is my first time ever being on a weight loss journey, because I've always been thin throughout my life. I've always been thin. So I never had to focus on that. Of course, I would try to exercise, walk, but then I had another issue, because I don't sweat. I know I'm going on a tangent, but I don't sweat. I hold in my sweat, so it always caused me to break out in hives. I can go walk around the track for 5 minutes just to get some movement in. I just break out in the hives. It was just so discouraging. So after my body got used to taking Claritin and Benadryl, I couldn't walk, so there was no movement as far as that. Now, if I was going to the mall or my favorite shopping stores, the grocery store, that's how I got my walking in back then. But I never had to focus on losing weight, because I'm getting to a certain age to where I have to watch, sugar, blood pressure, watching all these health factors that could be detrimental to me. And so with that being said, I was always thin frame. I would say 2000 and 13, I stayed at my range of weight, which was like 135, 136. That's my range. Because all through school, I was like 110, graduated 115, and then, like I said, around 2008, 136. So, over those years, I eventually went up to the 150, then 160, but it was up top, so to speak, stomach up top. I don't carry weight from the waist down. All right, so you couldn't even tell. You know, I go to the doctors and the nurse who's weighing me, she was like, why the scale say 170? Where's the 170 at? And then like if I turn around, she's like, oh, you carrying everything up top. So I really never focused on it. So with that being said, going forward again, is that is one of the reasons why I was asking the questions about the medicine, because I never was on a weight journey to try to help lose weight. It was not an issue, but now it is an issue. So she told me that. She said when you're eating your food and you fix your food, she was like, make sure you focus on your protein first, then your greenery, then your carbs. And if you got some fruit, good. But focus on the protein on the plate first, then the greens, then the carbs. And for breakfast, do the same thing depending on what you got for those categories. I said, okay. And because I already take a different medicine where I have to do a weekly injection, she didn't have to show me how to use the pen, because I already knew how to use it. But she did say, I said, well, where am I supposed to give this injection? And she said, I want you to give this in your stomach. Give this injection in your stomach. Alternate between side to side. She said, nowhere else. Use your stomach. And I guess that's because that's where I have the most subcutaneous fat is my stomach. And then, like I said, I'm heavy at top. So that's what she explained. I said, okay. So then she called in my prescription, and of course the pharmacy, they sent me a message, an email and a text alert and a voicemail, just letting me know that no, they didn't. I didn't hear from them. So I went online to look it up, and I said, what's going on with this prescription? And then I called them, and they said, oh, we got to do an authorization. Your insurance company requires a pre-authorization. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm just still at the time tracking my calories and what I eat every day, and walking, because I was like, oh, if they doing a pre-authorization, they're not covering this. Keep it moving. That's just how my mind was thinking. And so and then I still didn't hear nothing from the pharmacist. Like, this don't make no sense. I should have heard something by now. So then I went onto my portal with my doctor's office, because you know, for those who know your doctor's office, some of them who are using that style where you can go in, look at your chart, look at your notes, etc. I went in, I was like, I ain't heard from anybody. So then I looked, and the pre-authorization was in my chart showing that my insurance company authorized approval from March to August of this year. And so then I called back, and I said, oh, well, yeah, I see that the pre-authorization was already approved. I called back to the pharmacy, and they said, oh, well, you must have got it before we got it. And so then the young lady went and did some searching, and she said, we do. She said, we have to order the medicine. We don't have it in. We have to order it. So then I would say maybe 2 or 3 days later, I got a message saying, go ahead and order your prescription is ready for pickup. So I started the 2.5 milligrams. I don't have the date. I should. So I had to go and get my app, because I didn't have my phone with me. So I used the app called Shotsy, SHOTSY, and I did my first injection March the 7th. I did the first injection March the 7th, and that was on a Friday. So what I decided to do with this is because with any type of medicine, and you know, because like I said, I didn't say it, but my provider, she explained to me the side effects. Because when I was asking her, you know, is this medicine safe? What you know, what do I need to be looking out for? Because I just don't take medicines unless it's something I have to do, or something that's going to benefit me in some kind of way to alleviate something, whatever's going on. And so she explained to me the side effects, the most common side effects: diarrhea, constipation, fatigue, and I want to say it was something. Suppression, the food suppression, but that's what the medicine's supposed to do. So I decided, okay, well, I'm going to take this on a Friday because I'm not going to not be able to do my job every day not feeling good. That's not going to work. I'd rather do it on the weekends, because on the weekends I'm usually more zenned out, relaxed. So I took the first one on March the 7th in my upper left stomach, and with that I also weigh in. So I weigh in first thing on Friday mornings, whatever time I get up at 7. So usually after I get myself together around 7:30, I'm on the scale, I weigh in, and I put it in the app. And so I weighed in on the 7th, weighing the 204.8, and I started the 2.5 milligrams. And so that's during that same time I have a desk job, because like I said, I have a sedentary lifestyle. And so during that time with my job, I'm on the computer. So I guess I was doing my work, and I must have strained a muscle. So that next week, like 2 or 3 days, I was like, oh man, my neck hurt, and I don't feel good. I felt really bad. And I don't believe in coincidences. So I was like, I just started taking this medicine, now my neck hurt. What's going on? So I was calling my doctor's office trying to get an appointment. But I was on the verge about to go to urgent care. That's how much pain I was in. And like I said, it didn't happen until I took the shot. So then that next morning, I was like, I felt better, so I didn't go to the urgent care. So, but I did go to the appointment. So I went to my appointment with my provider in February. March, can't remember the date. And she was just to look at what was going on with my neck, because like I said, I don't believe in coincidences, and it all just happened in that same time frame. So of course she started laughing at me, because she said, you gonna be one of these people who ain't gonna move up because you something. And so she said, you just strained the muscle. She said, that's all you did. So she prescribed me a muscle relaxer. And so in that appointment, it wasn't my 4 week, because she scheduled me 4 weeks from the day she prescribed the prescription, because she sees her patients every 4 weeks that's taking this medicine. And she said, well, what I may do with you, because you're going to be one of them patients, she said, I'm going to let you stay on 2.5 for another month before we look at moving you up, because she was explaining the 2.5 is just a starter dose. So I said, okay, sounds good to me, no problems. So then you see me looking down, because I'm looking at my phone. So April the 4th, April the 1st, no, I'm sorry, March the 31st, I called my pharmacy to call in the 2.5, because based off of the conversation we had, I called it in and said, okay, we got to order it. Got it within 2 days. I don't know if that's the new saying for them now, because it's just like, we got to order it. I'm still, every time I put it in, we got to order it. And I'm like, okay, but that's a whole nother story. But so I got the 2.5. So I done my first 4 weeks, and I'm on week 5. So during that same time, this is when it was time for me to do my 4-week office visit from the initial starting the medicine, the initial time. So when I got in there, she said, oh, so how you doing? Doing pretty good. Any issues? Constipation. And I already suffer from a low trans digestive. I already suffer from that. I don't go to the restroom like, I guess you want to say normal people. I don't. And I found it out when I got my colonoscopy 2 years ago. I'm just one of those people. So she was like, okay. So then she's, encouraging me, make sure you get fiber. If you're not a person who has been eating fiber, she was like, gradually increase it, because if not, it's going to tear your stomach up. I said, okay. Then she recommended that I, have on hand laxative and a stool softener, just to help. I said, okay. So when she said that was it, I said, that's it. I was letting her know that I just was able to get 64 ounces of water in, thought I was doing good. And she was like, no, you need to be drinking 1 to 2 liters. So, that was something we talked about. And then she said, I'm going to go ahead, because it sounds like you're not having any problems, because the constipation is manageable. She was like, we're going to move you up to 5. And I said, I just ordered the prescription for the 2.5. And she said, don't worry about it. I'm still going to send the prescription for the 5, so you can start the 5 in May. And I said, okay. And she sent in for me to have it for May and June. Since she's going to be out of the practice for May and June, I'll go back to see her, I think June the 1st or June the 2nd, one of those days. And so then we'll reassess. So also during that visit, I asked some questions. Because like I said, this is my first time ever doing anything like this, period. So I asked the question of, what are we trying to get my BMI to? What are we trying to do? And she mentioned that she doesn't go by the BMI scale because it doesn't take in account different ethnicities, body figures. It doesn't. So she doesn't guide her patients on that BMI number because of that reason. Of course, I've learned over this time that they're supposed to be restructuring that, but she didn't tell me that, but I've heard that. And I said, okay, that makes sense. And then I said, so what are we looking for as far as a goal weight for me? And she basically said, well, I don't tell my patients what I think their weight should be. She said, I personally think that it's up to you and how you feel. And I said, okay. And she said, what I mean by that is, are your knees hurting? When you're walking, and you may be at 170, are your knees hurting? Do you feel congested when you're walking? Different things like that. If you feel that way, if you're at 170, then that ain't the weight you need to be at. If you feel good at 160, 150, whatever, then that's what you need to look at. But she does not tell her patients, oh, you need to be at this weight because according to the BMI, you need to be here. She doesn't do that. So I said, okay, that makes sense. So she said, so basically what she would do for me is reassess once I get to 160 to see how I'm feeling. Of course, when I go back in June, she'll do blood work to see how things are looking level-wise and so forth. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. So I know that was a long story, but I just wanted to bring this to my channel because I know I've been gone for a minute off of YouTube because I usually focus on finance and budgeting, but I still do that. I do it. I just don't post it. and you know, because I have to finance and budget with my meals and everything while I'm taking this medicine, and then just to be healthy. Also, I don't think I said this. Also, during that conversation, I asked her, well, how long would I need to be on this medicine? What are we talking? And she was like, well, it depends on the person. She said, if you get to a weight where you feel good and comfortable, healthy, you feel like you can walk around out here with no issues at whatever weight, then you could go into spacing the medicine out. She was like, if it's one every, I think she said 14 days, and then gradually space it out maybe once a month. She said she just have to assess, and then eventually you can wean off. She said, or some people have, stay on it for a long period of time. So that's basically how our conversation went when I actually had my 4-week follow-up for that. So yeah, so I just wanted to bring this to my channel, just because I am in a new place right now as far as life. I'm focusing on my health, trying to make sure I be around for a little minute, a minute, and be able to just enjoy what I used to enjoy physical wise. So that's basically it. If you're currently taking this medicine, and drop a comment, share with me how your journey is going, and some of the things you're doing. So Friday, I actually took my last 2.5. So that means for me, I was on the 2.5 for a total of 8 weeks. So when I take my injection this upcoming Friday, I will actually be starting the 5 milligrams on Zepbound. So that's basically it. Yeah. So yeah, I don't have nothing else to say. I think I've said mostly everything as far as why I'm going down this health journey. Gotta get right. So yeah, I think I covered everything. So I just want to say, if you're new to my channel, thank you for clicking on this video. Remember to drop a comment if you're on this medicine or any of the GLP-1s, and just share your journey and what's been going good for you. What kind of, if you had any issues, whatnot, just drop it in the comments. And please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and I will give an update. I don't know how I'm going to post, because I just got back into being on YouTube, because I've been away either a year and a half or 2, so I would have to figure that out. But I do want to document my journey, because it's going to be something that's going to help me stay accountable. So I don't know, but I know I want to definitely keep you all posted on my weight loss journey and how I'm going, and my exercise and how I'm increasing gradually. And I tried to do some strength training with the weights, but I would say for me it was a little bit too much, because you would not believe, but when you haven't picked up anything, a box, you haven't done anything, your body's out of shape, and I'm out of shape. So I started doing resistant training, resistant bands, to try to get some of that in, and I've been doing that for the last 2 weeks on Friday and Saturday. So I walk Monday through Thursday and Friday and Saturday, because I'm trying to do the men of walking, which is 3.5 hours. The men, I can't focus on more, because that would get me deterred and discouraged, and then I won't do it, because I feel like I'm burning myself out. So I'm focusing on 3.5 hours of walking on the walking pad, and 20 minutes per session with resistant bands. So that is something that I'm doing, and I just want to keep you all posted so you all can just be a part of the journey that I'm going through now. This is my season. So once again, thanks for watching. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Bye.